Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I am Jeffrey Cooperstein. I believe this is off-season day 3 now for the Dallas Mavericks after their season ended on Friday night. And on today's show, we are breaking down everything notable that Tim MacMahon and Tim Cato said in their Nico Harrison exposés that were written this morning. Plus, Nico Harrison did have a press conference, this time with live feed and cameras and audio in the whole 9 yards. So we will get into everything Nico said as well. But before we get started with today's show, I do want to ask you guys to hit that thumbs up icon. It's the free and easiest way to help out the channel here at Mavericks Today. And if you want all of the off-season content that we are going to do here on Mavericks Today, we are not just going to talk about Nico Harrison. I can give you that promise right now. Hit that thumbs up icon, and we will have you covered all throughout the summer here. We're going to lead with this. And this was the most notable thing I thought that came out from both of the articles that were written earlier today. This is from Tim MacMahon. And he reported that Patrick Dumont, more or less, was not happy with how Nico Harrison handled everything with the trade. Let's just jump right in to what Cato had to say about Dumont and Nico. He said, team sources consistently express belief that Dumont no longer sees Harrison as a figure with irreproachable basketball expertise. Most notably, team and league sources say Dumont has had frustration with Harrison not warning him, or perhaps even more damningly, being unaware of the fandom's outrage following the trade. And Cato also went on to note that Dumont has noted the calls to fire Nico from the fan base and from basically everyone in America, not Nico Harrison's family or Nico himself. And the fact that Nico was, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. I don't think he was unaware of the outrage that was going to ensue. I do think he underestimated the outrage, and he admitted as such in his press conference today. I think he truly had no idea how much Luka meant to the fan base, to the city outside of basketball, and he did not take that into consideration when making a move of this magnitude. And while I still think he needs to be gone as soon as possible, I do somewhat respect that he is able to admit that, yeah, maybe I didn't realize how much he meant to the whole team. And also, to further that point, like I said, I do want him gone. I don't think he is fit to run the Dallas Mavericks franchise. We do have to consider some ramifications of what firing him would do. There's a couple of things that I think would happen immediately. Number one, Anthony Davis, the second Nico Harrison gets fired by Patrick Dumont, Rich Paul sends a text to Patrick Dumont and says, my client Anthony Davis would like a trade out of Dallas immediately. I think that is the first thing that happens. Second, if they fire Nico, I don't think Kyrie comes back. I think Kyrie opts out and certainly tests the market. And then I'm not sure that the Mavericks are in a spot where they are going to have Kyrie and Anthony Davis and they'd be stripping it down to the absolute bare bones. You completely bottom out if you fire Nico Harrison. And the question you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to accept the consequences of firing Nico? Because yes, while it would make everyone feel better that he is no longer a part of the Mavericks organization, it would come with consequences, one of which being you're going to be a very, very bad team in the immediate future. Is it worth keeping Nico, thus keeping Anthony Davis and Kyrie, and trying to make a run at it next year? Or do you want to fire him tomorrow, yesterday, today, and bottom out immediately? So if it meant losing AD and Kyrie, would you still fire Nico? This is today's poll question. Get down in the comments. Let me know. Type F for fire or type K for keep. You may get hit with a YouTube ad break here in just a couple of moments. And while that happens, go on down there and get your votes in. The Tim MacMahon article also dropped this morning. And I got to say, while there was some good stuff in it, it wasn't as juicy and it wasn't as, I would say, informative of things that we really didn't already know. In summary, Nico Harrison fired Casey Smith, who was the head athletic trainer for the Mavericks for over 20 years. He was also the Team USA Olympic trainer for their 2008 and 2012 gold medals, best friend of Dirk, a very close confidant of Luka Doncic, who Harrison saw as a threat to his power in the organization, thus letting him go. And he let him go on a Zoom call while Smith was in Ohio dealing with his gravely ill mother at the time. So all of that, it just wasn't a good look for Nico. But in MacMahon's article, there was really no earth-shattering information that we didn't already know. In summary, Nico wants to be the guy in charge, the judge, the jury, the executioner. And firing Casey Smith in August of 2023 was, just another step that he could do that. We will get to everything that Nico Harrison said here in just a few moments. But I do need to tell you guys about our sponsor, which of course is PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks has over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, making daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just click more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. The postseason is here for basketball. Baseball is in full swing. The hockey postseason is here. The soccer season is getting to the business end of it, and you can play with our friends over at PrizePicks, the best place to win that real money action in over 30 states, including California, Georgia, Florida, and Texas. And they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Here are some picks for tonight's basketball slate. I'm going to take the more on Karl Anthony Towns' 3.5 assists for the New York Knicks against the Pistons. I'll take the less on Aaron Gordon points against the Clippers. And give me the more on Jamal Murray rebounds and assists for the Nuggets. You can copy my picks or make picks of your own. Just please make sure you do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive that bonus. It is guaranteed. Again, download the app and use code CLNS to get that $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. That link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. It is PrizePicks. Run your game. Now let's jump right into everything Nico Harrison said at his press conference. And as you could guess, there wasn't many, groundbreaking things that Nico said in front of cameras for the first time. I say in front of cameras for the first time since the day after the trade. So let's jump right in. This is one of the more notable quotes. I thought he said, "I think I've done a good job here. We've had a lot of injuries. You'll see next year when we're competing for titles." And this was in response to a great question by my good friend Isaac Harris over of Locked On, who asked Nico why he shouldn't be fired. And Nico said he thinks he's done a good job here, and the injuries will heal, and the Mavericks will be a championship caliber team. He went on to say, "We're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league next season." And while you saw it for 2.5 quarters, like Nico said, against the Houston Rockets, you saw it against the Sacramento Kings. You did not see it against a team who plays a faster pace in the Memphis Grizzlies. So I will be curious to see if the teams like Oklahoma City, like Memphis, who want to play at a little bit of a faster pace, are able to simply just out-athlete the Mavs, where the Mavs want to clog the paint and slow the game down. We'll see in the future. I mean, we'll see if Anthony Davis, PJ Washington, and Dereck Lively as a trio can really set that defensive precedent that Nico Harrison wants to set. And are we sure that PJ Washington isn't going to be traded this offseason? Are we sure that Dereck Lively isn't going to be traded this offseason? It sounds like Lively doesn't need surgery on that foot, so he should have a healthy offseason coming up. But we don't know what the future of this team is going to look like going forward. This one kind of hit home for me and kind of annoyed me, if I'm being honest with you. Nico was asked if he knew how much Luka meant to the fan base before he made the trade. He goes, "I knew Luka was important to the fan base. I did not know quite to what level." And I do somewhat respect that Nico admits that he wasn't aware of how beloved Luka was. And I guess my kind of response to that would be, how are you not aware? There are Luka Doncic posters and billboards, jerseys, shirts, everywhere you go in DFW prior to the trade. You fly into Love Field, one of the first things you see is a massive Luka Doncic mural that's right there staring you in the face as you're walking out to get your Uber or whatever. Everything about this city was Luka, and I just don't believe that Nico understood that whatsoever. And he sort of admitted as such that he was not aware of how much Luka truly meant to the fan base. And we do need to put this to bed right now. Let's just get this over with. Nico made the trade on his own, and I do believe him when he says this. Nico confirmed that Patrick Dumont did not tell him to trade Luka, and this was an idea brought on by Nico himself. And I do absolutely believe that you can say the trade is so bad that there has to be some conspiracy theory about why it happened. And I really don't think at the end of the day that this was some big conspiracy. I think Nico was tired of the power struggle. He wanted all the power. The only way for him to get all the power was to trade Luka away. And that's what he decided to do. This was a one-man job. And once it was down the road enough to the point where he had to bring in Patrick Dumont on it, he convinced Dumont of the philosophy of the vision, and it was approved, and away we went. I don't think Dumont went to Nico and said, "You have to trade our boy for us to get a casino or so the team can move to Las Vegas. That did not happen. This was the job of one man. And when he tells you straight up that, yeah, this was my decision, I think you should believe him. While he hasn't, given you much reason to believe in him about anything, I do think you should believe him when he tells you he was the sole executor of this deal. He was asked also by Dorothy Gentry, does he feel the fans? Does he feel their anger? Does he feel their disappointment in the direction of the franchise? And he admitted he did. He goes, when you have 20,000 people chanting, "Fire Nico," yes, I feel them. He saw it on April 9th when Luka's tribute video was played, and people were chanting "Fire Nico" every time somebody was at the free throw line. So while he may not, agree with how the fans are going about this, and he may think that he's doing the right thing, he is aware of the fan reaction to this trade, and he is aware that people are calling for his job, so much so to the fact that the first question of the press conference was asked why he shouldn't be fired. And overall, my take of this is I don't think Nico had any idea the backlash would be as bad. I don't think he knew that the vitriol towards him would be as bad as it is. I think he fully underestimated the amount of love that Luka brought to this fan base, the amount of joy that he brought to this city. This is a football town. Don't get me wrong. The Dallas Cowboys and always will be king in Dallas. However, the two most beloved athletes in DFW history, Dirk Nowitzki, Luka Doncic. Fully believe that. Dirk number one without a doubt. You can say Luka's not number two. I think he is. And I don't think Nico took that into consideration whatsoever. He also mentioned that we don't make deals on emotion. We operate with zero emotion. We go through a logic-based process, this and that. Maybe you should operate with some emotion when you're operating a sports team. When you are running a sports team, you have to deal with fan emotion. You have to deal with fan backlash. Sports is about emotion. It's what makes a lot of people go. It's why I'm in this business, is because I love sports more than anything on this earth. And if you are running a sports franchise, you cannot deal from a spreadsheet. You have to deal in emotion as well. And Nico Harrison certainly missed the mark on that. That is going to do it for today's show, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. And if anything comes out later in this week, we will have you covered here on the channel. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.